Okay, it's on. Greek, John chapter 1, verse 1. En archein hologos, kai hologos empaston theon, kai theos en hologos. Question. Why does it say word and not Jesus or son? Answer. Because John includes both Jewish and Greek theology, as I will show in a few seconds. You knocked, so I answer. Question. Does it talk about the Word in the book of Genesis? Answer. Yes. Now behold, you heretics who can't comprehend John chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 verse 8. They heard the voice of Yehovah, God walking. Verse 10. I heard the voice of you in the garden. And in Targum. And they heard the voice of the word of the Lord God walking. Verse 10. The voice of your word I heard in the garden. Question. And who did they hear walking? Answer. The word, aka the voice. John chapter 1 verse 18. No one has ever seen God. It is the unique God who is close to the Father's bosom, who has made him known. So then the question becomes, well, why is he the unique God? Well, the answer is simple. Because creation came through him. He is the first of all creations, okay? Now let's break this down for any Socinians watching. Alright, so why do I have John chapter 1 verse 1 clause C translated as and the word was a God? You see, because I'm not intimidated like the rest of you. You see, I actually took the time. I went and emailed Bart G. Ehrman. For those who don't know who he is, well, look it up. And I asked him concerning John chapter 1 clause C if it can be translated and the word was a God. He said, nothing is impossible. Then I went to Dale B. Martin, a professor at the university, Yale University. Oh, yeah, I don't joke around. And I asked him concerning John chapter 1 verse 1 clause C, if the translation and the word was a God possible. He said linguistically, yeah, it can be translated that way. Was I surprised? Heck yeah, I was surprised. I was like, really? Huh. Then why are all these Trinitarians going around making such a big argument, such a big deal out of this? Because it's against their position. Then, I didn't stop there. I went and bought Daniel B. Wallace's book, Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics. And to my surprise, concerning John chapter 1 verse 1 clause C, what's the three theological and linguistical arguments? 1. Definiteos, which is the modalistic position, or the oneness position, where God equals the Word and the Word equals God. There is no second person in this passage in the modalistic or oneness position. Then he offers indefinite theos, which is right here in front of you, and the Word was a God. Then he offers qualitative theos, which is the Trinitarian position. So theologically and linguistically, you can have it either way. 3 ways of looking at it. Are you surprised? I'm not. After talking to professors, no, I'm not surprised anymore. Now I know the truth concerning the matter. And now you do too. I suggest you go buy the book though, and read it for yourself. Now, looking at John chapter 1 from verse 1 to verse 10, notice the underlying parts. It's all consistent. It's all talking about the same one. Okay? Verse 6 through 9. Who is John bearing witness to? Go read the rest of the chapter. You will notice that John is bearing witness to the Son. So, why in verse 10 does it have to switch all of a sudden about somebody else? That's being inconsistent. You have to flow with it. Okay? Verse 10, and he was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. The world did not know who? The world did not know about God? You tell me these Jews with the Old Testament, they didn't know about God? Are you serious? Yeah, they went to idolatry here and there. But they knew that God was Yehovah and Yehovah was God. Okay, there was no way around it. They knew him. Okay, he was there. He wasn't just some imaginary thought in their minds. Who is verse 10 talking about? It's talking about the Son. Okay, it's inconsistent. Verse 6 going down to verse 10, it's talking about the same one. And the world came into being through him. Where else does it talk about and something coming into being through something? Verse 3. And verse 3 is connected to what? Verse 2 and 1. You see, you can't get around this. Yeah, I heard your arguments. Yeah, I've been there myself. But when I put all these strange thoughts that you adhere to, it was plain as day to me. It was clear. This is talking about the Son. Taking a closer look at this. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. Verse 10, he was in the world, and the world came into being through him, yet the world did not know him. Now it makes perfect sense. Jesus says in John chapter 17, verse 5, and now, Father, glorify me together with yourself with the glory which I had with you before the world was. Of course he was before the world was, because the world came into being through him. You see? Had, not have, as some like to argue. Anthony Buzzard. Had. And we can't go ending this video without this. John chapter 8, verse 56 through 58. Your ancestor Abraham rejoiced that he would see my day, and he saw it. Not he saw me, he saw it and was glad. Then the Jews said to him, you are not yet 50 years old, and have you seen Abraham? But that's not what he said. He said that Abraham saw his day. Jesus said to him, very truly, so he's not lying, I tell you, before Abraham was, I am. Now what kind of being can claim this? Angels, but he's not an angel. So it has to be somebody who pre-existed, who pre-existed Abraham and can say, before Abraham was, I am. Now, quoting a scholar, the present indicative accompanied by a verbal expression denoting duration and referring to the past time is sometimes used in Greek, as in German. It is in both languages, Greek and German, to describe an action which, beginning in the past, before Abraham was, is still in the progress at the time of the speaking, I am. Another scholar, to describe a state of continuing up to the present, Greek uses the present tense where English uses the perfect. Example of this in other writings? For I have been Job since before the Lord made me Job. Ego ga imi. So what do we have here? We have John saying the Logos, which is the Son, Jesus, being in the beginning with God. He was in the beginning when he came to be there, just like he was in the world, verse 10, when he came to be there. Then, almost in the middle of his gospel, he has Jesus pre-existing. Then, almost at the end of his gospel, he has Jesus pre-existing. Wow. Do you see a theme here? Pre-existence at the beginning, pre-existence almost at the middle, pre-existence almost at the end.
I was sent here to take out each and every one of you.
Get the heavy weapons! Optimus!